Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Painting with a Grumpy Old Man. You can probably see by my palette here, let's turn this a little bit, my palette here that I've already got some paint on today. I thought I'd do sort of a desert scene. Um, I have my normal backwash here, and it's still a little bit damp. And this is quite wet through here, but I wanted to put it on because by the time I get to it, I need it to be a little drier. But today, I'm going to do just sort of a desert scene, and hopefully it'll come out nice, and we'll see. So, I'm gonna come out of here. Okay, I'm gonna give that more of an S shape. I'm putting a dark blue in here. It'll probably get covered up 12 times in the process, but it'll disappear back into the mountains. And this is just going to be, I'm just blocking in color here. I love it when artists say that because it sounds like it's something arty, but it's not. I'm putting wet paint on my canvas. I'm of one solid color. That's what they mean when they say blocking it in. I'm blocking in an area, okay? It's not fancy, it's just a little river. We have been doing a lot of paintings I have anyway, that are sort of blue skies, sunset skies. But I'm going to do sort of a different thing today, and it's going to be kind of weird. So please hang with me. Yeah, I'm good. So please hang with me as I do this, and I will get this show on the road. Open my wife's code, which I don't even know. And I will tap into my reader. It is slightly delayed. I am sorry for that. But welcome to Carrie. Thank you for joining me. We're going to get started here, and people come in and out, and so I hope you enjoy this. But this is just blocked in, of course. This color up top here is basically a burnt sienna color, sort of a burnt sienna. This is just plain old phthalo blue, and the background is just some leftover paint that I had on my last tablet. But this color is pretty close to the burnt sienna too. You'll find a lot of oil artists really like this kind of color. They almost always will, if they're ones that map out their paintings first, as I don't do, but as they map them out first, you'll generally find that they really like using this burnt sienna after they've drawn them and put a real thin coat of it, because it becomes translucent and it gives them a great neutral background that they can go on. So it's really pretty cool. It's really pretty cool. So we're going to start off here today with, I'm going to get a little yellow, a little white. I'm going to mix those together, make it really light yellow. Get a little more white. And I'm going to make a really light yellow here for the sky, because I'm not going to have any actual blue in the sky. You see I have blue out on my palette. I always have blue out because I mix it sometimes to make greens and whatnot. And also I use it for skies and waters and buildings and shadows and all manner of things. So this looks like it should be just about light enough. Don't want to get too much of my brush. Tap it out a little bit. I'm just going to come up in here like this, and you see that is really, really bright, right? But that's fine. It doesn't matter, because I'm going to make a very yellow sky today. And it doesn't matter if I paint over something. And this is Impressionism. I used to live out in Colorado and in Utah and several other places um, where the canyons were there, and they were just absolutely beautiful. Some parts of Utah, the canyons actually, to me, reminded me of maybe life on Mars or something. And it doesn't really matter if some of the background shows through, because we're looking for movement anyway, and I don't want to have one solid color in my skies. And I generally don't like one solid color anywhere, because for some reason it just doesn't seem right. But this is, as you can guess, a little time consuming. It's why I did some of the painting before I logged on today. And I can fill this in. Now, some people will go in and they'll fill this in a lot faster than I do. Probably because they have training in art. I don't have any training in art. I have many hundreds of hours devoted to making mistakes over and over and over till I finally got something I liked. So that makes sense to you. But now I know the sky looks sort of one color, but it won't when I'm done. It'll have all kinds of colors. I love the painted deserts of Utah and of Colorado and those areas. Arizona, gorgeous panoramic views of the deserts out there. And deserts are not dead. We see them on the movies. It's always like the Sahara and everybody's walking on these sand dunes. But I've been out to many different deserts in my life, and I haven't been to the Sahara, so I haven't got to walk on the sand dunes. However, I'm just getting this lip here so that I don't have to see that brown on the lip. I've never seen a desert that looks anything like that. It's a certain amount of rainfall that you have that qualifies you for whether your area is a desert or not a desert. Arizona, Utah, those places, very much deserty. This painting today is going to have a lot of texture of different types and shapes and creeds and colors. I like it when my paintings dry and you can actually feel the painting. I don't know if that's a personal thing for me, but I really love texture in my paintings. So good. But you can see it's really just thousands and thousands of little dashes and considerable amount of time. Sometimes I'll bring it in between where I think the mesa is going to be, so the light was showing in there. And this is not rocket science. And I know it looks all gappy and stuff right now, but this is just the first coat, first layer. And one thing you need to know about painting with acrylics, it's about layers. When you're doing alla prima, like I usually do, where I paint wet over wet and continue that trend, it's sort of makes it nice to have these very thick paints on here. And then get too much good on your paint, go where you haven't painted yet, because it's acrylic and it will dry. If you do oil, use oil in a rag to clean it, or as Jose Trujillo does in his lives, you can use toilet tissue, whatever you like. I think he finds toilet tissue a little more convenient than other artists do. There's just little cracks of light. I don't want a lot of light coming through, just little cracks of light. And we're going to go back and those will be tightened up later, but they're so thick and wet right now that I really won't bother with messing with it. I'm going to start my far away areas here. And you're going to see there's a lot of blue. It is not water. It'll get yellower and yellower as we go, but I kind of like to have the blue in there because it makes a nice easy green when I get to it. Every time I go back, it'll get thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker. Happy little greens. I don't know. I don't think I can pull off Bob Ross, but hey, still like the guy. Left us too early. Very sad. Very sad that he left us at 50 years old. He was very young when he passed, and so now you'll find out that I use the fan brush a whole lot, but I'm just really getting the shape of my ground here. The ground's not going to just, it's not just one set. There's 3 different areas. Boom, boom, and then the first hills you come to here, which will have grasses and stuff, and I'll do the dual purpose cleaning the brush plus whatever. I'll also come in here with my greens. And do a little darker green. And I'm going to start at the bottom with the darker greens because a lot of them will be covered up. Most of this is going to be a whole different color. But none of the, I'm trying to avoid getting any of the greens into the sky. So eventually I'll end up getting green stuff down there. Greens and blues, yellows, all kinds of beautiful colors in here. And I'm just really quickly going through and putting in color and stuff. But it's been a nice Easter. Oh, and happy Easter, everyone. Happy Easter. I'm very happy you could be with me today. You could choose to be just about anywhere else. We did our Easter this morning, and since I don't have little kids anymore, I leave that to my big kids to do it with their kids, and I think that's just the way it ought to be. That's the way it should be. Some things will never change. And as you can see, I'm just slowly mapping out these areas here. And I'm lighten them up, darken them up, lighten them up, darken them up until I get the proper flow. You can find my paintings on eBay. MITAR_2742 is my site. How do you get there? I'm a grumpy old man, people. I have no idea. But you can. And I know many of you are sitting there going, this is so weird right now. It's green on the bottom and brown on, and almost white on the top. It will change. It will change drastically over the course of this painting thing. Thousands of dashes, thousands of little colors. As we get closer to us, colors tend to darken a little bit, and even though these are much darker than they're going to ultimately be, you need that transition down to from darker to lighter. And then after that, the blues are so cool. I just love the, not cool as in blah, 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 man, I'm cool. But they're cool as in they are on the cool side of the color wheel. And so they tend to make your eye a little bit happy. And I like to what is this word? Juxtapose or propose or impose, juxtapose or whatever, around in different colors. I like that. I like to have the blues and the greens and the yellows and stuff all doing their own little thing. And I know that the mesa does not look one bit like a mesa right now. It just looks like kind of a blobby, blah, blah. But that too shall be overcome in time. So, come in here with a little bit lighter green. work my way up to, just dashes, tons of dashes. We're painting in a hurry. The sun's going down. Sort of like the plein air painters. They want to get it. They want to get it in before the weather conditions change and they have to change their painting again. That's kind of what plein air is about. But I found that plein airs concentrate more on shapes than they do on movement, and when it's just perfectly fine. I love plein air paintings. I love watching people do them. I love looking at them. They're really cool, but I'm not a plein air painter. I paint outside sometimes, but usually by the time I'm done, I've changed the real scene so drastically that you can't tell where I actually painted it at. But I don't care because it's my art and I'll do what I want to, do what I want to. Just a little. This is the undercoat. It's the green-blue undercoat for what's going to ultimately be more of a yellowy brown red. But in order to give those colors depth on top, then you have to come in with these colors here. I'm just going to go under. And I'll use a different brush completely when I start doing that, because I'm going to want finer points, so I'll use a fan brush quite often to do the dashes and dots on this. Alright, so that looks good for the first coat in. I'm going to go back to my sky now. And in my sky, just to be difficult, I'm going to put in some red dashes. There won't be very many of these. This is about, I'm going to keep them widely spread. They'll end up being more pink in the overall function of things. But I need these colors so that I can reproduce them down here in the landscape. And so it'll be really nice. Really, really, really nice. Okay, I think that's enough red up there. Now I'm going to come over here to ochre yellow. Ochre yellow is a gorgeous color. I really like it. I'm going to lighten my ochre up a little bit because I want a sort of a bright sky today. Okay, so yeah, that's better. Sort of a brighter sky. I'm going to leave the colors dark in between the cracks here. I got little dark yellows running in there, and there's a reason for it. And I want them, because they're in between things, I want them to be sort of, that's pretty. I want them to be sort of darker. Let's lighten that up even more. Maybe drop some red yellow in there. Oh yeah, I like that color right there. That color is beautiful. That color is beautiful. And doing 3,000 strokes a minute here. Too bad I'm not an Olympic swimmer. 3,000 strokes a minute would be really good. Now I'll cut it to a little bit brighter. I'm going to make my light sort of in this area today. So I'm going to actually lighten it up just a little, just a tad, just a tad. I don't really worry how big or small my patches are. They're fine, whatever size they are, whatever size they come out. I kind of like that color right there. Maybe a little dash of, add some more white to that. A little more yellow, light yellow, lemon yellow, I think is what they call it. You can barely see the difference. And I'm sitting right next to it, so I don't know how you guys are seeing it there. It's almost a tannish yellow. When I get to a certain point, I'll actually darken the edges up a little bit because, I don't know, it keeps your eye inside the painting or something arty like that. But it's one way to do it. But I really love painting, and painting is fun, people. Um, if it's not fun, I suggest you don't do it. Find something that's fun for you to do and do it. Uh, we spend a lot of our lives, I'm 60 now, we spend a lot of our lives doing things we have to do. So anytime you get a chance to do something that you want to do, that is a better option. Okay, it's a better option. And I'm going in between the dots. You can't really see it, but I leave a little bit exposed. Just like I left a little bit of the canvas exposed underneath on the first time through, I leave a little bit of the sky exposed as well. Every little slot and bump and jot and tittle and all those things. And no, I didn't just say a bad word, so relax, people. You can see this doesn't really take a great amount of time to make a really cool looking sky. So I'm just hoping you guys are enjoying it. Hello to Kelly, Mushroom Kelly, and Ganesha, and Fractal Constitution. That's what they've done to our Constitution nowadays. It's been fractaled. Okay, so I am now going to start in with a really unusual color on the edge that you probably wouldn't think of, but I'm going to come in here and sort of an orangey color on the edges here, along the edge. Now, decision making is a huge thing when you're painting, and everybody's like, oh, okay, whatever, art person. But where you decide to put your stuff is important. It's really important. On this one, I wanted the mesas really high with a big field out in front of it. So if I want the mesas really high, that means I have a very small sky. And that very small sky doesn't allow me to do as many gradations, whatever fancy word that is. I teach history, not what's the word, elocution. But I'm just coming through here like this with some, and these are basically really light oranges, okay? I'm not trying to do some kind of amazing new age thing, but I am trying to make it look cool. And when I'm done, and I say this with my fingers crossed, I hope it will be cool. You know, again, I'm going to come up with a little more white here because I want to brighten up this middle of the painting just a little bit. That'll be the brightest part of my focus. And as I go farther away from my horizon here, I spread out. I'm not as bright as closely together. And I have to put a lot of paint on my brush, so you're wondering why I keep going back down. This paint is all wet. And if I don't have enough paint on my brush, guess what? It's not going anywhere. And then just a blop of the lighter as you go, okay? So now I get this sort of a feel for and if you overwork this, you'll lose your motion. That's a key thing. Overworking a painting is hard. And this is, I think, what a lot of artists actually struggle with, is the fact that they'll keep working and working and working, and they probably should have stopped because it was good to start with. And that happens, which is okay. Now I'm going to come out wide, and I'm going to go just purely ochre yellow, or yellow ochre. I'm speaking dyslexia, apparently. And there's not a lot of variations between the orange and the yellow ochre. Now, as I do this, you will notice that the paint actually mixes a bit on the palette. Now, I'm not going to bring this all the way down because as the closer I get to the horizon there, the lighter I kind of want it to be down here. But I will get it pretty yellowy up here. And so I have almost a circular looking sunlight coming out. But I will leave light colors I change the shape and angle of my brush a lot because I found that it gives me a little more movement. Okay. Now I'm going to come in and pull some white. Now I'm using the same old dirty brush because I don't really want to lose the color entirely. I want to have a little bit of light color, but not too much, right here on the edges. Okay. Pull in the white, pull in the white, pull in the white. And I'm gonna really use some heavy texture right next to the mountains here. And if you're looking over there, if you're really close to this, you'll see that there is definitely differences in the colors, but it's really hard to see on the video. But I don't even care if these blobs are good. It doesn't really even matter to me. So I'm going to say that's my sky for right now. I may go back later and fix it some, but for right now I'm going to go with that as my sky. Okay. All right. Now to this point of the painting, I'm going to actually do a little work on the mountains. And I got to pull colors together here. And I'm going to sort of use a sort of a pinkish color on my mountains. And I know that doesn't sound right, but it's right. I'm going to pull a little bit more white off on there. The lighter I can get this, the better I like it. And I don't always mix my paint completely. I know a lot of people do. But sometimes I just want a little streaks or variegations in my mountains. Okay. Go here. These don't have to be perfect. These mesas are not the important thing here, but I think I will add just a touch of lighter brown to it and go back. Give them a little more separation from the sky. You can see that that is not bad. I still want to go just a little bit darker. Now I don't care about coming down too far on these. I want this dark ridge between the fronts and the backs. So leave those dark spots because they look like reality. In fact, I sometimes will come through and creep in some darks just because I can. Okay, got that on the wrong side. And you can see that's extremely thick and variegated. So that's a very pretty color. Come on down here. These don't have to be perfect. I'm going to bring in a lighter shade here. So give it a touch more of that, touch more of the white. Love acrylic paint, but it's so pretty. Pretty painted mesas. Go in different directions here. I like having different colors floating through here, different variations, because in the desert, or anywhere in the world for that matter, the colors change. There's nothing is just one color. Usually a series of multitudes of colors. But these mountains are very far back, so I don't want to get them too dark. But I get a little darker as I get to the edge here. Oh, that worked out not at all. Okay, so here, deal with this. It'll give me a little greenish look, but I don't care. So here we have this darker things here. And I'm going to leave these light through here, pretty much, because this is where the light's coming from. I'm liking that. I'm liking that. Okay, I'm going to stick with that as my answer. Okay. Keep my palette knife kind of wiped off. Now I'm still going to use my palette knife now, but I don't want to lose the blue color here. What I want to do is take a little of my blue, move it to another place, a bunch of white, and make a way lighter blue. Now you're like, oh, that's so bright compared to everything else. It is not. And it doesn't really matter if it was, because I can actually come back and go over it again. But you see this blue just really is so beautiful. Gives these beautiful hues. And I know, hey, okay, yeah, probably not found in nature, but I don't really care because it's found in my nature. You still get that rocky appearance because this is just a little bit of light hitting it, giving it sort of a subtle blue shadow on the background. And it will actually separate the painting out, and some artists will go, oh, don't do it. And the grumpy old man says, shut up. I will do it however I want to do it, and you will like it. I'm very brave when nobody can actually get to me in my studio / garage. I am such a brave man. Not brave enough to take on my wife, but, you know, hey, there are limits. So, and these are structures. I mean, I kind of think of maybe Anasazi Indians or something living in here. How cool would that be? Little cave dwellings up in the whole place. Yeah, it's a mistake. Okay. Happy little stupidity. Man, I miss Bob Ross. He was the dude. Absolutely the dude. Nice little. Do it sort of different angles. Okay. Okay, there's a little blue in here. There's a little blue all over this place. I mean, mountains are not flat and smooth. They're lumpy and bumpy. Oh, kind of like that. Kind of like that. I will probably cover a bunch of this up, but that's okay. Now, my canyon is going to have tons of trees. Now, I used to have a bigger fan brush. I lost it because I'm old and I lose things. Okay, now, I don't have to just put a green in here. I can put a very light green because I got blue back here already. So I'm just going to actually make a little grass line. I'll lose a lot of the yellow as I get closer to the place. You know, it's a thousand little just motion, motion, motion. Cannot tell you how important that motion is. Now, a lot of people won't, but I do. I will roll my heels up halfway into the other place. And I don't care if the colors are natural. I'm painting a place I want to be. So, people who, art is about making art, not about making pictures or painting or something. It's about expressing yourself in a way that doesn't matter if somebody else likes it or not. It just matters that you like the process. It is most definitely the journey, people. Okay, and that is good. Now I'm going to come back in with a very dark blue right up here. I'm just going to make trees. Those don't look like trees, Mr. Darwin. They don't, but they are. In the grumpy old man's world, these are trees. And we're going to go way up here with it. Maybe we'll tap, 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 tap. There, it looks like a tree. Go some bushes here. I will come back and touch these up with different colors and stuff. But as you can see, I'm going up my. That's trees, man. That's trees. Trees here. And I don't know that I'll lighten the trees up too much. I kind of like them dark. But it is what it is, people. Hold on here, get rid of some of that. I'm trying to keep this part in the shadow a little bit. It will get much lighter, I know, much as I hate it. I will actually have to come through here and add some brighter greens to these trees, and I will. Now, as of now, I don't plan to have trees closer to me. Don't plan to have any trees in the foreground. It's like this is some places where the river runs through it and you get this outcropping of beautiful trees. And it's just slightly darker. I mean, it's just dark. You don't have to see these trees, because the painting is not about these trees. This painting is about a nice little place you can visit in the canyon meadow maybe. I don't want to take away the whole, make some roll here. I'm going to let this dry for a little while. And I'm going to come in underneath these greens, and I'm going to start making really sharp, really small taps. And they look kind of like little semicircles. But my friends, that is okay. There's not going to be that many of them, maybe 2, 3 million. But they're what they are. And this is burnt sienna with just a touch of burnt umber. I'm looking to pull in even more darker areas in my thing. Deserts have a whole lot of dried brush and stuff in them, rocks, and those will all come in later on. They'll have blues, greens, reds. But as this goes, it will be getting actually lighter and lighter and lighter. So the painting will be really nice. And I don't know how it's looking right now, but I hope it's looking good. Let's look. That's not too bad so far. Hey, Abby Grace, how are you doing? Good to have you on my show here, girl. I knew a girl named Abby Grace. She used to be one of my students. Rob, and Vizart, and Evans, Lisa Evans, thank you guys for coming on and watching with me, watching the grumpy old man paint. And I'm going to guarantee you that this will come together, but I, in fact, may be lying to you. I don't know. I do know it's going to be extremely thick paint, a lot of extremely thick paint. So it'll take a little while to get through, but we're going pretty fast right now, I think. And getting these lumpy bumpies. I saved my dark umber, if I can, for my rocks, because there's a lot of rocks in a desert. So that side looks okay for right now. I think I'm going to need a little bit more burnt sienna. Just a little, I don't need a lot. One of the things with this kind of paint, with acrylic paint, it doesn't stay wet. Oil paint you can use, it'll get a thin coat of film over it, but you can actually reuse the same paint on your palette for quite a while. Whereas with this, you gotta keep it fresh. Now there are some things you can do. There are containers you can actually buy that will you can close it up in afterwards. You can't put it back in. I mean, maybe you can, but getting paint back into this tiny little hole here, really hard. So I used, because I had a palette, if I have leftover paint and I'm not going to use it for the back of another one, I go with tinfoil. I just cover it with tinfoil, and that'll usually help it last about a day. So I can, if at the end of the day I painted so much that I just don't want to even look at the paint again, then I'll put tinfoil over it and come back at it the next day. I know it doesn't look anything like you would imagine. For that matter, it doesn't look anything like I imagine. Now you'll notice I have different textures in here. I have a really thick, lumpy texture in the back, really thick, but vertical texture here. And then I have really thick horizontal textures going this way. It really, for some reason, alternating the different textures seems to make the picture come more alive. The flatter parts, which would be the mesas in the back, the flatter parts, I like to have a little, these guys are here because they're further back. You know, I'm not interested in, pulling them up to the plate there. But there's a lot of things I can do this painting yet. Right now I'm just going to go into my next color. And this is actually the yellow ochre again. And yes, it's going to turn green in some places. Don't worry about it. Grass is green. Everything's better on the other side. And I have water over here I can rinse my brush out with. But you have to rinse a lot around these thick blues over here because the blue will most definitely get in there. And kind of different from the sky. I usually start my skies lighter and go darker. But when I'm working with my foreground here, I like it to go lighter to darker instead of here I go lighter to darker up and out, here I go lighter to darker up to down. And sort of gives me a nice little effect. But this is going to be way more brighter when I get done with all the different layers. Then we'll go into, we'll have to make some decisions what we want to do. But you can see, this is just, looks like grassy little gewgaws. And again, as I get closer to the foreground, I actually flatten my brush out so the grass looks a little taller. Whereas in the background, I'm just doing beeps, 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 beeps. And I'm not covering all the things up, because if you cover everything up, guess what? You lose the depth. You need that depth. Okay. So let us go forth and work on the other side. I use a lot of yellow ochres because, well, let's be honest, I just like them. Just like to poke them, let them stick out. When this paint's done, it's going to be very textured. It's going to be very textured. It's going to, you'll be able to maybe sandpaper something with it. It'll be so textured. I don't know, but I just love the texture. Love the texture in my paintings and softness in my easy chair. That's something that that as you get older, as you become a grumpy old person, that you find there's certain things you've got to have certain ways, and one of them is like your comfort, your chairs, your beds. If you don't have those right, you're gonna be like, I'm angry. Why is everybody looking at me? And I know this blue, please don't let it freak you out. It is very blue, but it will become actually greener in just a little while. Right now I'm mimicking the colors in the sky, but I'm getting the darker colors underneath. And oftentimes in my sky, I'll bring the darker colors in actually last. Because I want in case you're wondering, this is a river. Unless I fell on my river, then it becomes a road. Mountain road. Hang out over the river there a little bit. I got some blank areas that have a little too nothing in them. Like I say, when you're painting, it's your art creation, not somebody else's. It's not Van Gogh. Doesn't have to be perfect. But we're moving along nicely on this, folks. We're moving along nicely. If you have any questions or something, go ahead and ask. Hello, Evans. I just talked to you, Lisa. I think that's how you say it. Abby Grace, still here with me. Good, good. Elise Mocart. Hello. And S. DeLorenzo Arts. Welcome, guys. Welcome to Painting with a Grumpy Old Man. I'm the grumpy old man, by the way. Doing a nice little desert scene today. Now, I'm going to come. Now you're saying, but Mike, this is really bright and this is really dark. That's okay, because I'm actually going to come in now with the really bright colors on the bottom. They're not going to be exactly the same. There'll be sometimes I stick a mimicked color in, but they really won't be the same. I like a lot. Remember, the pure yellow generally fades away as it gets closer to you. You don't so much get that pure yellow anymore. Put the little desert plants in here. And lucky for me, I have lots of yellow because it looks like I may need a lot of yellow. And then I'm trying to flatten this part of the ground out just a little bit because it looks like you're rolling down a hill a bit. And I'm doing that by making smaller dashes. Smaller, 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 smaller dashes. And you can see it's starting to look things. Now I'm going to actually come back later and I will actually put in some more vertical objects down here. Because I want vertical objects down there. I'm not going to maybe get one or two little glints down here. But most of it will stay up here. Most of the yellow, bright yellows are going to stay up in this area. I will mix a little bit here. Some of the brights and get a little transition there. Okay, kind of like that. I'm going to rinse my brush out really quick here. How's that looking to you guys? Look okay? Or are you just listening to my smooth, melodic voice? Ear to ear. So you can relax. Oh man. Let's come up in here and get really bright. Now last time I painted this scene for you guys, I had some flowers in it. I didn't like it. Too many flowers. And then I put trees up front and I'm like, not so much there, buddy. Not really that keen on that look. And you will notice that I do actually blop over the river there sometimes. And that is okay. It's okay to blop over the old river. Okay. And I'm not going to get too detailed with these yellows on the left hand side here. A little dark, and then kind of can put a little light on top of it, sort of greenish. Okay, now I'm gonna come back with some light yellows here and put it into my greens. And I'm gonna come back with my trees and sort of green them up a bit. You're like, why? They were so cool, they were blue. You are right, they were very cool when they were blue. But now they're not. Again, a lot of texture on this. A lot of blipping and blopping. I'm going to leave some of the dark blue trees in the back, so never fear. You need those far away trees to give it some depth. No matter how much yellow I get, it's never, I use a lot of yellow. I've noticed this. I've noticed this about myself. Some lighter greens in there. This is it's going to have a lot of sunlight on it, so let's get some green in this puppy. It's going to be a darker green back here. I don't get too much green in there. Like that. But I want to come with a little bit. Lighter green right there. Give myself a nice tree. There we go. Good enough. Alrighty. So here we got our sky, our mountains, and our mesas, which are flat mountains. The real name for mesas are flat mountains. Now I'm going to come through here and sort of lighten up my river a little bit, because I want to get, I'm later on going to come back and probably put bushes, plants. There'll be a rock here and a rock here to kind of keep the river in its banks. But I want to actually have a little light going here. Doesn't matter if I get a couple colors mixed in. So Again, tiny, 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 tiny little strokes. Every once in a while, I'll pull in a little white. And add a few blues back in here. Some lighter blues. It looks like it's running over a rock or something. Keep that puppy in the bank there. Now, I like to keep the banks kind of even. I know a lot of people don't think about this stuff. I think about keeping the banks rather even because I want it to look like a river and not so much like a falling mass of nothingness. But I do have a thing I do like to do, and all the artist people that paint with me go, stop doing that. But I'm not going to because I like it. So I'm going to take a little bit of white here, and I get it really thin. I don't want a whole lot on there. If I want it to curve, then the river will curve. Maybe there's a rock or something here. And it's not terribly, but just a few sparkles. I don't like to have a lot of sparkles of white in my blue. But here's a really cool thing which you guys did not know I was going to do. Come across here like this. Okay. I'm going to add a little darker blue here. What are you doing, Mike? Well, I'll tell you, mind your own business. No, just kidding. I am actually going to make a waterfall. Get a grumpy old man likes a good waterfall. I mean, the river's got to come from somewhere, right? I mean, we're doing just a fake waterfall here, right down into here. That is really cool. Okay, man, that's cool right there. I don't care who you are. Nice little waterfall there. Maybe we can come in here, cut this edge of it off just a bit. Got a little vegetation growing around it. Okay, there we go. All right. I think we're pretty good with that. And let me take a step back and take a look at this thing. Alrighty. That thing looks pretty good. Boy, you know what? It doesn't look nearly as good to you guys as it does in person. Of course, you know, you can call me a liar. I can't do anything about it. But it really, the colors are very vibrant right here. And I probably could stop here, but if you've spent any time with me at all, you know that I got to have some vertical stuff going on out here. A little bit of vertical, but I don't want to have tall, tall tree verticals. I just want some stones and rocks and stuff, and desert looking stuff. All right, so I'm going to put you guys down for a second. Hello, Hannah. How you doing today, Lauren? Good to see you. Brad, glad you guys joined me, man. I'm having fun. This is painting with a grumpy old man. You came in really late to the painting. We've been painting for probably about half an hour at this point, but it's coming together, and I like it. I'm gonna cheat because I can, and then I'm gonna put a little black in my burnt umber. I'm going to mix the burnt umber into the black and burnt sienna. Got a lot of burnt stuff here. That's okay. I'm not shooting a bird at you, people. That's just how big my hands are. My hands are enormous. I have enormous hands, in case you're wondering. This is a big old hand. Okay, that's slightly striated. I'm going to come over here. Put an old rock right here. This is where you're going to sit and enjoy the view. Watch the river roll on by. Got to have a sitting rock. I mean, that's important. Can't be in nature without a sitting rock. Especially when we get old, because we don't like to stand anymore. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to stand up. But I'm not going to make that too perfect over there. It's a stinking rock, man. Deal with it. But I am going to take just a little of this color here. Rough it up a little bit. And I think I'm going to add another rock right here because, man, I just feel like rocks today. In the desert, you'll find a lot of rocks. And this one's going to cut off part of the river. Sorry, guys. Give it a nice little encapsulating thing there. Another sitting rock. This is where your buddy can sit, your friend. Hey, you want to go out to the 2 sitting rocks? Absolutely, man, but I want the smooth one today. No, I like the smooth one. You can't have it. You can't have it, pal. I call dibs because you can do that, in 3rd grade. Dashes and color here. I like to have a dark edge. I don't know why I should have reflection going off here, but I like to have like a dark flat edge here. Okay. So your butt don't hurt when you're sitting on it. Maybe we'll come on down here like this. That's better. Even a little more. Maybe even a little bit more. All right. And that's some good stuff right there. 2 nice sitting rocks. Okay, there we go. This is a big old rock. I'm just into the rock mood today. I don't know why. So I'm going to get a big old rock over here. You can climb on up to the riverbank and watch. Okay. Now I'm going to come back with my manly brush. Manly brush. Hi. Okay. Thin out some of this dark burnt ochre here. Maybe. You know what? Wrong brush. This bad boy looks better. Little branchy, twiggy thing over here. A little bramble over here. Yeah, that ought to be perfect there. And I think I will go and just place some rocks around things. There's a little bit of this phthalo blue and mixing in a little bit of the red. Like just making a dark color, that's all I really want. There's a really dark color. Maybe there's a rock right there. Another one right there. Yeah, rock out in here somewhere. Break up the landscape a little bit. A lot of rocks out here. This whole field. There's a baby out here. Probably really big, but you're seeing it from far away. Okay, so you get this bad boy. Now we come back to the manly brush. Where are you? Manly man brush. If you're watching this today, feel sorry for me. This is the only fan brush I got. Maybe I'll a little red up there. A little red up in here. Riverbank here. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I don't know what any of this stuff is, but I like it. Grass right next to the riverbank here. But it's too light, so or too dark, so I'll lighten that up just a little bit. Let's see. Green twigs out here somewhere. And no matter how much I try, that one's too bright. Let's go with this one. Never seem to have enough yellow. One kind or another. First of all, we're going to go with it right here. Let's see this. Yes, you taught me how to use my finger. That is Juliet, my son's dog. I love and hate her at the same time. I've lost a whole wardrobe full of socks to that thing. But what can you do, right? I'll fix my little river right there. Maybe slam some darks in here. Okay. These are just impressions of different plants and stuff out here. Alright, I think we're just about done there, people. Thank you. Please join me again. Painting with a Grumpy Old Man. My name is Mike Tarver. And I just love to paint, folks. Desert Scene. Come back and see us again next time. And until then, my friends, stay well, stay healthy, and absolutely stay off my lawn.